You want to know why I really think Nintendo keeps doing it?
Because of the kids.
No, I think it's a
Yeah.
lie. I think it's a lie.
It's like
I think it all has to do with Europe. Nintendo during the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U has had a huge okay, during the PS1 and PS2 era, I know poor Europe was, hated, got last releases. It took them forever to ever get Final Fantasy Anthology. But, Nintendo during the Wii, the Wii U, and the 3DS has been treating them really well. Hell, they didn't have to beg their souls to the devil to get Xenoblade: The Last Story and Pandora's Tower. We did. We have a big old video game marketplace in Europe, but yet Nintendo's like, hey, we're just gonna release these here, and we had to beg for a fucking year, selling our souls to the devil and shit, basically, just for the remote chance that we got them. And I think why they keep doing it is to stop importing into Europe and Japan. Because by locking it, they're forcing the European people to buy the European versions and the Japanese to buy the Japanese version.
Vice versa.
What?
Vice versa.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned Japan because Atlas locked Persona 4 Arena, not its sequel isn't locked, but the original Persona 4 Arena was locked because the Japanese and American version were exactly the same, and they were afraid Japanese people would import the American version because it's actually cheaper for them to do that. So, I think that's a sub-part, but I think the main focus is Europe. Because Europe has, during the PS1 and PS2 era, it's fuck our own country. I'm buying an American or a Japanese one.
Yeah,
and they would
the
import
PAL conversions, which are terrible.
Yeah, they would just have a American TV and just import American consoles and games and shit, because it was, for the most part, usually cheaper and shit. And they didn't get screwed as much, better graphics and shit. Admittedly, this is my tinfoil hat thing. There's no proof, evidence, or facts backing this up. This is just my tinfoil hat thing. But I really think is the sole big concept of having Europe as a marketplace is why Nintendo keeps the lockout system. But that's just me. What do you think? You think there might be a little truth to that, or?
I think there's some truth to this. Yes, I do agree. In terms of sales, that does make definitely a lot of sense. And in terms of but when you mentioned in terms of begging for games for them to get them, it actually reminded me of a company again, Cave. If you know me, I do not like Cave. For all shoot 'em ups lovers that love Dodonpachi, Mushihime Sama Fatari, and that kind of stuff. Games could be good. I fucking hate Cave's practices because it's kind of let's release a game in Japan, and then they're like, hey, we found a publisher in Europe. We're gonna publish our game in Europe. That's gonna be awesome. And then a publisher comes up to them from the US and hey, we're a publisher in the US, and we want to publish your game. Are you interested? They go, no.
Really? I never heard of that. I know Atticusmj published Death Smiles 1 in America. But,
because Monkey Paw Games, when they were still around, actually, I believe they actually asked Cave to release Dodonpachi, and Cave refused.
Huh.
I do remember reading that. Actually, I do remember. Actually, they're still around. I do recall them talking about Dodonpachi. I'm trying to look for the page right now, though. Oh, there it is. I'd love to see Dodonpachi in a future update, and that's what someone wrote. But I do remember seeing them say that Dodonpachi was actually refused by Cave.
Very odd.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see that. That's very odd.
It is. I don't get why they would refuse Dodonpachi. I'm seriously trying to find a comment to see if I could Dodonpachi. Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble because I do recall seeing it from their own website. I'm not sure if they took it out or that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm not very familiar with a lot of Hell Bullet games. I mean, I know what they are. I own two of them. I got that, and what is that one company?
I got that, but I don't know the game.
Hmm?
Which game?
I got Death Smiles, and
Yeah, that's also by Cave.
yeah, I know.
I never got a
The
play.
other game, I don't know if it was by Cave. It was published. It was the first game published in America by a company that published games in Europe. I know when. Oh, I can't remember what the hell it was called. Go on my YouTube page because I did a video of it.
Yeah, because I play shoot 'em ups, and I do know Death. I never played Death Smile, but I always wanted to try because it looked interesting. Death Smile 2, on the other hand, looks like garbage.
Well, I could definitely tell you if you ever want a really hard challenge, Death Smile's true super boss ending shit is insane.
I hate those. It's kind of like, yeah, let's have a boss that you can't access unless you have very specific requirements. Like you can't.
Oh, it's not Pacific. It's very simple. You don't fucking die ever until you get to the end. That's the only requirement.
Okay, that if it requires you to not die, then that's much better than some of their peers games. In their older games, they would say,
Well, I do think it also has to be on like hard too, I
level
believe.
999.
But I mean, there's no like, oh, you need this item, kill this guy this way, and do this, and make sure you take this shortcut at the optional.
Akai Katana. Yeah, I believe that's also a cave one. But in their older games, in order to get the true final boss, you had to never continue, and you couldn't use like more than 2 or 3 bombs ever in both loops. So you had to beat the game twice without continuing, and you could never use bomb. It was
Rising Star games. That's what.
it was ridiculous. Like that really ruined the enjoyment because I mean I couldn't experience everything, and to even get to loop 2, you had to meet that requirement, and then you had to meet the requirement again in loop 2, which was stupid. It's like, yeah, let's have a game where you have to spend so much freaking time just to have a boss. And unfortunately, a lot of Japanese bullet hells still do that. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, I do enjoy the game, but I'm not enjoying, like, trying to get to the boss. I'm trying to get better, and I am getting better.
I didn't even try to do it. It's like I always knew there's no way in hell I was gonna be able
Because there's
to
one
do it.
game where it's even worse than that. There's this game called Gundemonium Recollection, which is actually a really fun bullet hell. But in order to make the true final boss appear, you have to play the game without ever messing up. Basically, the game calculates skill points depending on how you play. So if you do certain things, it increases. But if you do other things like getting hit or wasting bombs, it decreases significantly. But you gotta get over 100 skill points throughout your entire gameplay, and it's never shown to you. So you gotta go through the entire game without messing up, without using any bombs. And then you gotta get to the final boss, defeat all of its form without using bombs, because if you do, you lose skill points. And then at the end, you gotta make sure you still have a bomb, in case if you have run out. If you don't, you can't fight it. So you have to use a bomb now. And if you have over 100 skill points, the true final boss would appear, and it's gonna kick your ass because no matter what difficulty you play on, it's gonna have the same pattern, even if you're on easy. Which is a terrible design. Terrible design. And I actually managed to make it appear, but I was so freaking surprised that it did appear that I just ended up dying. I was like, what the fuck is that? Dead. And I was like, oh, that was the true final boss. What a waste of my time. And I never played the game again. What other game did that? On PC, there's Crimson Clubber, same goddamn thing. Play the entire game without continuing. Actually, I think that's it on Crimson Clubber. So it's not as bad as the other games like Dodonpachi and Gundemonium Recollection, but it's challenging. It's fun, and that one I probably would be happy to do on normal. But most cave games have those stupid requirements, and in the end, I just want to fight the goddamn boss. Why can't it be like Gradius? In Gradius, if there's no true final boss, if you beat the game, then play on the second loop, the stages are redesigned, and on the game Gradius Gaiden, what would happen is that if you got to the 8th stage on the second loop, and you got you beat the final boss in the boss rush, there'll be a bonus boss. That's the only requirement. Just get to loop 2 and get to that stage, and you'll be able to fight it at the very end. He's a hidden boss, but if you get there, you can fight him. In fact, the game saves every stage to complete, so you don't even have to start the game over from the beginning to even get to him. It's like you still have a chance to see this boss and fight it. Yeah, you'll need practice, but it encourages you to go fight it. Like, I'm this close, I just gotta clear the stage. Well, in bullet hell shooter, it's like, well, you gotta play the game over and over and over and over and over again, and you gotta beat it twice. Never use bombs and never continue, because if you do continue, you can't loop the game. And
Yeah.
when you do loop the game, you still can't continue, and the game is significantly harder. It's like, for someone who's used to those kind of games, which I'm kind of in the middle, it's like, oh, I can do that. But then you realize you're in the minority. Most people don't like to spend that much time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when it comes to spending time, I mean, as a older person now, it's a much harder thing to come by when you're younger and you have, like, when we played Dead Rising for Halloween stream, I was like, wow, I was much more patient when this fucking thing came out. I had more free time. I was out of high school and I didn't have as much of a hardcore job at the time, so
yeah,
I still had crap loads of free time. And I can't believe I was so patient with the AI and fucking Dead Rising 1 survivals. I was like, good lord, I need to shoot all these fucking guys.
yeah, that's the thing, because Cave is trying to cater to one person and one person only, and that's their biggest problem, and that's what's going to destroy them. Because right now on Steam, not even on Steam, even on PSN, you can find some really good shoot 'em ups. Doesn't have to be bullet hell, like Super Stardust HD. That's a fantastic game. Resogun on PS4, fantastic, and they don't have any requirements. You just play through the game like an arcade mode, and it's freaking fun. And you can see everything. But in K, it's like you gotta meet those requirements, and you have to do this, and that to see everything. Otherwise, and people are like, "Fuck this shit! I'm gonna play the other game," which is what I'm doing. I'm playing a game called Jamestown. I bought it a while ago, and I beat it on the second hardest difficulty, which is it was fun. It was hard. Well, I was dedicated to beat it because I knew I could see everything. So I got really good at the game, and I got to see everything. I'm not gonna do the hardest difficulty because that thing is kind of stupid. But the second hardest is like a perfect mixture of hard but still fair. It's super hard but super fun, and you get to see everything. If you don't want to play on the hardest difficulty, the game doesn't punish you. It just say, hey, play on easy. And then you'll still see the same boss, you're just going to be easier. That's it.
Yeah.
There's... As you can see, I'm really into the
Oh yeah,
genre.
yeah. As you can probably see, I'm not as much.
Yeah, I actually designed one for a game, for a guy that actually wanted to include a small shoot 'em up in his game, like as a mini game, but he canceled the entire game, so it never came up. And we were right there, right at that part of the development. And I concepted everything on paper, scanned everything, sent him everything. Then I did QA with him, tell him no, this is how it's supposed to work because he programmed everything, and I was like doing the QA and showing him how it was supposed to be, and I was actually we were doing a good job. But then he lost motivation in quotes, which is a shame because I think the game he made could have been okay. It wasn't good, but it was acceptable. But it was a shame because, all the games I worked on were all canned, which sucks. But when in terms of shoot 'em ups, I really like dissect them. If you mess up one thing in a shoot 'em up, I will tell you. And you don't need to have like a super skilled player that just plays bullet hells all the time to tell you the flaws of your game. Because might they tell you a few things about the scoring system? Yeah, they might. But if you want someone that will tell you, okay, this is what will appeal to whoever, I do that. That's what I love to do. I dissect shoot 'em ups.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that Greatest 3 on Super Nintendo was kind of fun, but really easy. Greatest 3 in the arcade is next to freaking impossible. There you go. If you don't want to torture yourself, don't play Greatest 3 in the arcade.
I've only played a few, so I can't really speak a whole lot on the subject.
Yeah, it's a subject I'm really into. I probably rambled on enough on shoot 'em up, so we're just gonna move on to another genre, I guess. Funny enough, fun fact, my Super Smash Brother has been running in the background this whole time here, and my B-Rolls have been fighting for more than 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Pikachu! Will you win? I don't know. You probably won't, because you always get killed.
Perhaps.
Yeah, poor Pikachu. He always gets killed. Anywho.
Well, I did have some other subjects, but I'm all way 40 minutes late to going to bed. So.
Yeah, it's getting late. It's like 10 o'clock here. Almost 11.
10:38 here.
10:41. So, I guess I'm gonna call it at night because work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun chatting. And
Oh yeah, I forgot that clock's a few minutes off. But yeah, my computer says 10:40. But yeah, it's. But yeah, I get up at 5 o'clock. So.
Yeah, I have to get up like 8:30, which is not too bad. But having a good night's sleep really helps.
Yep, it does. Sadly, I won't, and I know who to blame. Anyway. But perhaps we could do another thing sometime of that. But thank you for coming on. Rambled a good bit on actually very few subjects. Actually.
A few subjects. It's more rambling than anything else. But hey, if it's fun, it's fun, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it wasn't fun. It's just usually when I do these, gone through a lot more topics. We stuck on a lot fewer topics and talked a lot more in depth on those subjects. So, and a little bit more different than usual. So, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's good to be in depth. But I also did have a few more topics, but I'm like, we're not going to talk about Anita Sarkeesian today. The internet talks about her all the time.
That could add potentially 2 hours to this conversation.
Oh, yeah. Easily another 2 hours with Anita Sarkeesian.
Hell, I've been half tempted to make like a parody show of her stupid show. Because, I mean, like, the thing she wants to talk about isn't something you can't talk about. It's the way she goes about it that...
The way she portrays an entire demographic.
I mean, like, let's take, like, one of the very first things she talks about. The Dinosaur Land... the Dinosaur Land thing that turned out that got changed into a Star Fox game. A much better way to convey that would be, you could say...
Are Are you sure we're talking about the same person? Because Anita Sarkeesian is a in quotes feminist. Is part of a feminist group.
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused. I'm
Well,
not sure
in her
what it has to
first
do with the
video, she
and
talked about in her feminist frequency video. The first thing she really talked about was the canceled Dinosaur Land game that Whale was doing, and that got changed into a Star Fox game on the GameCube.
oh, I see.
And she went to argue about how Crystal was thrown to a lesser role into a damsel and thrown into a skimpy outfit and shit, and dewomanized and all kinds of shit. And she really cherry picked and what's the term I'm trying to think of? She really fucking sabotaged some of that footage because Crystal wasn't the only playable character for the canceled Dinosaur Land
There was also
game.
another fox. It
Yes,
was not
and
Fox.
he
I know what
has
it is.
a somewhat striking resemblance to Fox. And she also cut out a part of the video she used where Crystal in that trailer for the canceled game says her name in that. She can't. She cut out a part after that where she says she's like out to save the princess or something of the game. So it's like,
With
oh
General
nope,
Star.
nope, that ain't gonna cover my narrative. Gotta cut that out, or I'll look like
Uh,
some kind of
you mean,
hypocrite.
you mean the part with General Scar, where you would go like, "I am General Scar," blah 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 blah, and then she goes, "I am Crystal," blah blah blah, blah blah blah. I'm gonna bring you down.
Well,
Is it that
I'd
part?
have to. I haven't seen that trailer in a long time. Uh,
Because I remember that's the part that she talked in the original trailer. But yeah, I don't think we should keep going on the
No, it was
HSRQ.
Dinosaur
It's just
Planet.
gonna keep going.
But I'd have to relook at it. It was Dinosaur Planet, but
I'm dying.
yeah, it would go on for a while. But I thought about doing like a kind of parody show where it's like, good idea, this, the bad idea, and he is so cute. It's like, here's how to take your argument and put it in a way that doesn't offend everyone and opens discussions. Like,
Does
see,
not
here's
offend the very
here's
demographic.
discussion, and here's you calling everyone a sexist fucking pig.
Basically, it's kind of like that 25 reasons why a white man specifically
Oh,
benefit from gaming. That was such a terrible video.
that, and it made me cry so much. Some
It
of
made
the
me wanna
people in
punch
that.
the wall.
The fact that Tim Schafer was in that makes
Yeah,
my
when I
heart
saw that, I
leap.
was like, "Is that Tim Schafer?"
Tim Schafer, Adam Cecil was in there too.
Yeah, Adam Sessler was
And what's
also in-
funny is like Adam Cecil's show on X-Play. It's like, what the hell, man? You're basically saying half the shit you did on X-Play was fucking sexist and crap.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, I
I
can't
was
believe
like,
it.
what? I mean, I understand having a change of heart and like your thoughts and stuff for that. I mean, nothing wrong against that, but
I'm for equal rights. I'm just not with.
oh, I'm totally for equal rights.
and,
Problem
you know,
is, the people like on the Sakizio are not for equal rights. They're for they're not for equal rights. They're for dominance. They're out for fucking world
Like,
domination,
talk
baby.
about misogyny.
They're
Literally,
out for world domination. Put men on a leash, snip those balls off, and put them in a little sack purse.
it's like, hey, it's okay to be bad at someone because their ancestors did something bad, but then these younger generations, they want to do good stuff. But no, let's treat them like shit.
Fucking act like they live in the age where they did get treated like fucking shit.
Funny
Like,
because I had my neighbors actually liked my sister. They were like, "Oh, she's a girl. She's not gonna beat us." Funny enough, she beat them at the game that we were playing. I'm like, it's not good to call a girl like that. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Some girls are really good at games. Some of them are not. There's girls better than me at some games.
did you read the 25 things visible benefits of gaming while female? By the way,
I think I've seen it on Facebook. Someone said it.
it
On
came
Facebook.
out like a day or two ago, It was an interesting weed, and it was also written by a woman before anyone's like, "Oh my goodness, men wrote a list." Oh,
Okay,
like,
let's see. I don't have to be worried about being told I am too old to be playing games because I am female. No one will call me a man baby or claim that I need to grow up, which is true. It's kind of like, hey, there's this like double
and
standard
these are
again.
all really true.
Yeah, the thing is that that's society, not really like it's not sexism. That's a problem with society and like gender, like the status quo and that kind of stuff, which is really stupid. I play games where I go. I don't care about it. It's funny enough
Yeah,
because if I go with my parents, they're like, "Why are you playing a game? Like, don't you want a girlfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't like. If I meet a girl, that's awesome. Not a girl that's gonna tell me stop playing those games. If she plays games with me, that's even better. I love that."
that just you had this whole pro Jared sounding line there just now.
Funny
That's
enough,
even better.
you know what's funny is that I technically could have met Pro Jared just by walking into a store because I'm in the same state as him, but I'm not that kind of guy, so I don't do that.
Oh,
So I'm currently reading it. The people will be willing to censor popular titles and content for the sole like it says 3. People will be willing to censor popular titles and content for the sole purpose of catering to my possible feelings. In a way, it's ain't like for men, kind of, I guess, but that's kind of true. But in a way, do you want them to be censored? Well, it depends on the content. I do. I
see,
agree. I agree.
the list is saying the benefits of gaming
Thing
as a female.
as a
So what
female.
it's saying is that, oh, well, I find that sexist. Oh, well,
Yeah, because I'm thinking
we'll
I'm
move
too
it.
open about it. I'm too open about it. I'm like thinking about equality, but I'm like, yeah, this is just for females. I forgot about that. I should
This was a
openly admit
post that
that
this
I
was a counter towards the male thing, the invisible male. This was a
I could
that's what
openly
this
admit
is.
that I do not play games. That people will be willing to hand me thousands of dollars just to hear my opinions on them. Anita Sarkeesian, already we have
Yeah.
that. Men will be willing to devalue themselves and their entire gender in order to place me on a pedestal solely because I am female. I would, but I don't do that. But there are probably some guys that do
Oh
that.
yeah, there are people who know
Like
that.
I will never have to worry about having a sufficient party in order to complete raids. Being female ensures that I will always have available allies willing to contribute to my success. I agree. I can make blanket claims about gamers of an entire gender, a gender which I am not part of and cannot relate to in any real life situation, and will receive the widespread, unwavering support of the media, which is unfortunately freaking true because the media is stupid. Because I'm female, I will be far more influential in the sociopolitics of in-game communities because I am seen as a rarity. And unfortunately, there's some twits that do believe that because there's a lot of girls that do play games, but the guys are like, "I gotta play games, duh." When I'm like, "Hey, you play games? That's awesome. Want to play a game? Let's do it. Let's play some poppin' music." And the industry as a whole that's 9 by the way. The industry as a whole is willing to attempt to push out other consumers in order to secure a safe spot for me, free from any potential offensive and controversial content. Very true. When dating, the fact that I am a gamer will not be looked down upon because of my gender. Rather, it is more likely to be viewed as an endearing quality. Freaking true. And that's something I hate. Again, status quo. Like, I don't get it why guys like, "Oh, you're a gamer, stop playing those games, why are you playing games? You're too old for that." I'm like, no, I'm not. And 12, in the event I do something wrong and am called out on it, I have the ability to claim the person called me out is sexist. Which is, again, fucking terrible. It's true, but it's fucking terrible. It's kind of like, "This guy is sexist." I'm like, you did something wrong. And like, "This guy is sexist." Basically like, yeah, I did something wrong, but I'm a girl, so it's fine. That's like the worst thing you can do. Same thing for guys. Like, yeah, I'm a guy, I did something wrong, but since I'm a guy, it's fine. Both sides is wrong, and that's just wrong. It's true, but it's wrong. 13, my opinions on any matter will hold more widespread clout immediately, for no reason other than I am a female, which in some instances is true. And in a way, I say all opinions should be should matter as much as all of them. Any 14, is many players will be more willing to censor the language in order to make sure I am more comfortable. I don't do that. In the event someone does not censor themselves, I will have no shortage of men willing to white knight on my behalf of my honor, on horse or afoot. Which is true. And honestly, for the people who do white knight stuff, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna criticize them out loud, I guess, right now. But I have an opinion that I will not share. 15. As a female, people will be afraid to criticize me or my opinions, no matter how radical or insane they are, for fear of being called sexist. Which is true, but thankfully, I don't do that. I call out anyone. 16. I am short of in-game currency. There will always be someone willing to purchase items for me solely because of my gender. That is true. I've seen that happen so many times in the MMOs.
Yeah, that is such a common thing in MMOs. It's ridiculous.
Funny enough, people in Dark Souls, like, it came into my game and gave me items. I'm like, thanks! Like, give me this item, that's fucking cool. Let me give you an item, too. And then 17. Rarely are my mistakes called out in game. Instead of the expected trash talk a male gamer receives, I am offered constructive criticism, advice, or even comments of what I did do correctly. Honestly, yeah, constructive criticism would definitely help, but I've never seen this myself. But again, I can't comment. I've never seen this. 18. As a female in a male-dominated environment, which is fucking... Again, male-dominated environment, that term should never exist because I believe in equality. I have the potential of holding more power in a gaming community than someone far more experienced than I, simply because I am seen as a rarity, which again, I do agree on, and I do think it's stupid. I think everyone should be equal. Like, if you have more experience, if you're a girl, like, if you're a girl that has no experience at all, and you meet someone that has more experience and they turn out to be a guy, why would they go with the girl that knows less than, like, does that mean her opinions are bad? I don't think so. I think everyone's opinions are good. It's just, in this situation where you do need the knowledge of something, and the girl doesn't know, like, she doesn't know, and the guy knows. If it's the other way around, same thing. 19. People are willing to... Oh, no, I read that one. 21. Okay, there we go. Should I ever choose to enter the gaming industry, I will have more success with fundraising campaigns because of my gender alone. True. I will have access to special grants, foundations based on my gender instead of my experience, ability, motivation, or credibility. Which is fucking true. In fact, it's so disgusting when I see stuff like that for gender-based stuff. I'm like, fuck. It's even like, oh, like, you're from a certain country. I'm gonna give you more money because you're from there. I guess it's cool for the person who gets it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I'm from Quebec. You get jack shit because you're from Quebec. And we don't like people from Quebec because apparently they complain a whole lot. Which is not true. We're just vocal. It's the same thing for the US. They're fucking vocal about a lot of stuff. Whereas as vocal as people in the US. While it may be true that some people expect males to be better at games, that also works in my favor. I don't have to be as good as a male in order to be considered better than him. Lower expectations does not mean I am unwelcome. It means my performance does not have to be impressive in order to impress people. Yeah, I agree to an extent. If you're like impressing some people, like let's say a casual group or maybe that kind of stuff, yeah, if you're gonna impress professionals, that's not gonna happen. You need to bring on your game. They don't care of your gender. They just like, unless the person's a complete jerk. But if they want some like a professional game player and you don't have that skill, they're not gonna hire you, no matter what you are. And also, what's the next one? I lost where I was.
You would
23. There we go. 23. People will automatically assume that because I happen to be female, I want to read gaming articles, blogs, reviews, and written magazines written by other females, and will go out of their way in order to accommodate me in that regard. That I'm not sure.
Yeah, that one's a bit...
Maybe it's true, but I've never noticed it myself. I guess
Man,
I'm just not paying attention.
I personally wouldn't see why it would matter, but then again, you know, we're talking about crazy people sometimes.
Because they want to be on the right side of the story, not on the correct side. But, anywho, back to that list. 24. Popular websites and magazines will take my gender into account when reviewing any game, and will stretch as far as possible in order to pre-warn me about any small amount of material in the game which could potentially hurt my feelings because of my gender. And unfortunately, in some instances, not all instances, it is kind of true in some of them. And honestly, I think that's kind of dumb because they're fucking critics. Like any articles, any like in terms of reviewing any game, like if they do something that really insults a certain demographic, I can understand why. If that's what she meant by writing this. If it's as far as saying like, oh, it's only for girly girls, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that's just stupid. They should not write that. But in terms like, oh, we're just gonna write something that insults someone else, but if it's insulting another demographic, we gotta warn them and see if it's good. Why? Like, just ask both. If you're, don't risk it. That's a stupid thing. 25. Because it was created by a female, this checklist will be less likely to be taken seriously because of its content. It will likely be accused of internalizing misogyny simply because I am acknowledging the benefits I have as a female gamer, versus focusing on what I think my disadvantages are. However, I know that in creating this, I will also garner a decent amount of appreciation. Simply because I am female, I may feel willing to express appreciation for the benefits available to me, instead of playing a per, per, perpetual victim. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's gonna happen. Honestly, yeah, I do think that's a good list. That's actually very accurate. And I'm not saying that because of the last point. That's definitely my opinion. I do think it's very accurate, and unfortunately, some of these things are definitely disgusting, because they really don't promote any equality at all, and that's just the status quo that's happening. Like, especially like in terms of being judged by, like, that you play games just because of your genders. Like, you're a guy, you play game. How dare you? You must be a man baby. Or you must be locking yourself up in your basement all the time. I'm like, no, I go on bike rides when I can. I like to go outside. I like to go on hikes. I like to travel. I love to travel. But no, because I play games, really, I'm this. And yeah, I think she nailed it. What's her name? By Liz. I think December 4th, 2014 by Liz. Well, Liz, if you ever listen to me, I give you 2 thumbs up because you're absolutely correct. And unfortunately, as long as we have inequalities like this, it's not gonna get any better. So we gotta do our best to do the best. We gotta do our best to change so everyone may benefit to this hobby of playing video games, passion, whatever you do with games. Hopefully, everyone will benefit in every way.
Anyway, not to cut you short there, but now I definitely need to go to bed.
Yep, I'm just rambling on. It's funny, it's like, we're just gonna end it, and then we just keep going. Anywho, I just rambled long enough. So,
yeah.
My name's Methless.
Thank you for coming on. I hope you had a jolly good time. It was more of a debate-ish kind of thing, but hey, there's nothing wrong with a good debate.
Never. There's never anything wrong with that. It was very enjoyable on my end.
Cheers, there was good chap, yes. It was a very jolly good debate there with biscuits and crumpets.
It was quite a jolly good time.
Yes, very much so.
A Frenchman trying to take a British accent. That's not gonna work.
Remember, everyone, praise the motherfucking sun. Thank you, Pip Pip, and all that. Have a good day.
Thank you and all that, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.